Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Volleyball blog, or the Fire blog. Today I'm going to talk to you about playing in the wind and how we can use it and how it can be our friend. The inspiration was that we were training yesterday and it was absolutely blowing a hoolie here in Spain, and it made me realise that my attitude to the wind is maybe slightly different than a lot of people's, and I wanted to explain that, talk it through, and how I think that is something that is a real benefit to me. So when I look at the wind, I don't really look at things as being a good end or a bad end, or of the wind as being an obstacle to overcome. I see the wind as an ally, a friend. Yes, it might mean that we can't do everything we want to do, but when I'm playing in the wind and when the wind gets stronger, I stop thinking about, oh, I'd love to do that, and it's more about doing what you can in that given scenario, okay? It doesn't have to be pretty volleyball, it doesn't have to be showy, but you can be really effective in the wind if you appreciate what it's giving you and go at the wind with the attitude and the mindset that it is something positive, okay? Whenever it's windy, I love it. And you know why? It's because I know that those big players out there, or those less skillful players, those people less versed at playing in beach volleyball, are going to struggle more. Okay, and I've embraced it. I love it when it's windy. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say, really, is that we have to flip that mindset of, oh no, it's windy. You know, that is exactly what you want to avoid. If you are a beach volleyball addict, if you are a beach volleyball player, you should be saying, okay, it's windy. Great. This shows that this is part of my craftsmanship. This is part of how I am as a beach volleyball player, is that I love to play in the wind. Because, let's face it, in the UK, wind is part of playing the game. Full stop. End of story. So, how do we best cope with the wind? Let's think about, two scenarios, okay? One, the end-to-end wind, all right? So obviously when the wind is coming end to end, so straight in your face if you're looking at the other side, traditionally you'd say there's a good end and a bad end. Now what I want to think about is maybe flipping that terminology again and thinking about how you can try and score from both sides. You could, for example, if you're on the traditional good end with the wind on your face, yes, you want to try and tee off into the wind. You want to be trying to get out your jump serve. You want to be trying to get out anything with some sort of spin in there. Likewise, though, you could also be thinking about putting something with a little bit less energy so that the wind is allowed to do more with the ball. You'll find if you serve a really deep, sort of low energy float serve that's almost going up into the wind, then that ball might just sit in the wind and almost come back towards the player. So you can really punt it really deep behind the opposite opponents, and then the ball will go over their shoulder, they'll turn, and it will almost be on them straight away, immediately causing discomfort. The other thing you might want to think about from the traditional good end is think about trying to play the ball to slightly wider areas. So maybe straightening up your pass so that you can get onto the outside parts of court. This is going to allow you to swing longer angles, so giving the ball more time to drop, okay? And then staying behind the ball, allowing the wind to take the ball towards you so that you're not underneath the ball and then doing that thing where you brush it and the ball ends up behind you. Wait, 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 and then you'll find that that end is an absolute goldmine for points, okay? Likewise though, if you're on the other side where, the traditional bad side, there's still a lot you can do. The idea there is that you're trying to make it difficult for the other side to get that ball in front of them where they can swing successfully into court. So you might think about trying to get in a short serve, because when you make a player pass from short, naturally they have to pass the ball up rather than forwards. And as soon as you do that, that ball is then going to drift miles back off the net and be more difficult to pass. The same thing is that when they go short, they then have to go back in, okay? And then that might end up that they're more underneath the ball so that they can't spike through the ball into the wind. Another thing you can think about maybe is serving deep to the body, allowing the ball to drift and drift and drift the ball onto your body so that you're stuck. Because a lot of players will end up then passing that ball up. From the bad end, or the traditional bad end, the real goal is that you want them to pass the ball up. As soon as you allow them to drive the ball into the net, they're going to be more comfortable on the spike because that ball's in front of them. Okay, the setter can move forwards into the wind to go and set the ball. They can then set the ball up, the spiker comes in. As soon as they pass the ball upwards and not forwards, that ball's always going to be going away from the net. So then giving them the chance to get towards the net and make an effective attack is going to be much, much more difficult. Now, second scenario we're going to think about is a crosswind. Now, a crosswind, again, in this scenario, you normally have a good side to pass and a bad side to pass. So if I use my laptop as a court, if the wind is coming this way, okay, and here's the net across there. This is traditionally said to be the harder side to pass. Okay. However, there are a few things you can do to tweak that. As players, you might decide, okay, I'm gonna go and stack on this sideline. So you almost have your good side passer standing almost in the middle. Okay, and you don't give the server this serve to the sideline, which is really difficult. You're making them serve down the channel so that the wind can take the ball out. Now that's one way you could do it. Okay. The second thing is as a passer here, what I don't want to do is get caught in this outside channel because the ball is always going away from me as I'm hitting. Instead, when I pass here with the wind coming that way, I want to pass and then run on that reverse set because I want to be hitting back into the wind. Allow the wind to take the ball down. Allow the wind to do your work for you. You don't want to end up hitting that way because the wind's going to take the ball out of court. Okay, so there's a few little tweaks that you can do and experiment with as you're playing to try and really think about how you can maximise the effect of the wind.